In this week's episode, we have two amazing prizes up for grabs. We have Themeborne across, who are giving away an amazing Escape the Dark Castle bundle. We also have the guys in from Parabellum, who are giving away some mystery sprues for their new game. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and ding our dong for your chance to win. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to The Weekender. This week's show, we have a special guest. We have Tom from Themeborne, creator of Escape the Dark Castle. We're going to be doing a little bit of a chat about his new game, Escape the Dark Sector, which is currently running on Kickstarter. Stay tuned for that. I'm, of course, joined by the mighty Jerry himself, and Ben on the screen.
Hello.
Whew, I'm tired. It has been a crazy last 3 weeks, folks. So we've done UK Games Expo, where we did 4 days worth of live blogging at a 3-day show, which is a little bit nutty. And there are absolute boatloads of prizes in there still up for grabs. So if you want to nip in, rewatch through some of it, and maybe actually find something you want to throw a little comment in on there, you know, you might win something. Jerry, what was your favourite thing from Expo? Oh no, you weren't at Expo.
I wasn't at Expo.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You said you were having a time out with all the backstagers and you were going to have some drinks, and then you left me here.
Well, actually,
No, not actually.
No, hang on. I didn't actually get to go to the backstage.
Whenever we went to Salute, you went, "We're not having a backstage meet-up." So again, I didn't get to drink. You're so mean to me. He beats me with a bag of Satsumas when people aren't around, Tom. He leaves bruises.
Even I didn't get to go to it because I was out with the Vikings. I took a Danax to the knee.
Shocking.
At least it wasn't an arrow to the knee.
That will put anyone down.
But actually, no, that was actually something I learned was... so the whole arrow to the knee thing was actually the Viking equivalent of saying they got married. So the old ball and chain was to take an arrow to the knee.
There you go.
Because you go down on one knee to propose.
Yes. Ben, favourite part of Expo, mate?
I really liked going out and checking the amazing Happy Salmon game they did on the Saturday night, I think it was.
No.
Saturday evening after the show closed. They did this absolutely fantastic big game for charity, which was really, really good fun.
Yeah.
They had loads of people involved and they raised a lot of money as well, which is really, really cool.
Yeah,
it's good seeing everybody just getting stuck into it and having fun with games.
Sounds cool.
Really
Yeah.
good.
You see, great cause, but anytime I play Happy Salmon, it's just like, no. It's just so frantic and insane. If it's the kind of game you love, great for you. It's not for me. Tom, what about yourself? Did you get off stand at any point?
You have to be up for that kind of game. And no, I didn't. I was demoing our new game, Escape the Dark Sector, to lucky Expo attendees. We had over 150 people come and play it.
Nice.
And, even more than that, played Castle, of course, Escape the Dark Castle, our other game.
Yeah.
So I was locked in for the whole thing non-stop. Flat out.
I have to say, I am dying to play this properly on camera with you. I think I want to get Warren in just because the comedic value, because he plays Escape the Dark Castle with his kids all the time.
So I hear,
He's never done, but he's telling us stories about it, you know, so he mellows it down a little bit because they are nippers. But I mean, like, it's his little ones going, "Who's going first?"
Yeah.
No, you go through the door. You go through the door. And then the one that picks is going, "I don't want to go through the door."
Yeah. Well, the feedback on this one has been really good, so I can't wait to get it to the table with you guys, and we'll check it out.
Definitely. I want to do a deep dive with you on this one. I want to do a full Let's Play. I cannot wait. Now, one of the other things that happened this week was that we actually had the guys from Mythic Battles in. So, you know Leo and Az in the crew?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, at Expo, they were doing some gorgeous stuff. They were selling off some of the dragons that they had got early production stuff. People were, you know, really jazzed up because they were getting their pledges and stuff rolling through.
Yeah.
But what they were over for this time was Super Fantasy Brawl. So, I don't know how many of you know about this, but this is a very cartoony arena combat game, which is totally faction free. So you can have orcs with elves, with dwarves. Why would you put orcs with elves and dwarves? Because you can.
Right.
But it's super light, super fun. 0 dice in the game. So it's very quick to learn, but really tactically deep once you get into it. And just look at the artwork. Look at this artwork. It's just so cute. And on top of that, we've got some how to play stuff out there, and we got a ton more like battles in. So I played against Az, Leo, and then Coco, and then Leo and Az got a grudge match against each other as well. So, you know, European Mythic Office versus the UK Mythic Office. So bit of a grudge match there, which was definitely worth it.
Spoilers. No. UK's in Europe.
Ben, what's been happening in the news, mate?
Cool, yeah. So we've got some fantastic stuff coming up that sort of showed up this week. The first of these is from the guys at Warlord Games, and they were working on a new skirmish game called SPQR, which is Roman stuff. So it's all set in the ancient era. The starter set for the game that is on pre-order right now is going to contain a set of Romans and a set of Gauls. There's like 8 Romans versus like 40 Gauls. They probably called them Gauls anyway.
16.
Is it 16?
16, yeah.
16 Romans versus 40 Gauls, whatever it is. But yes, there's loads of really cool stuff in the box. If you get stuck into some games in there, you've got the rulebook too. And the rulebook itself actually expands things a little bit further. So you've got some other cool factions in there. So you've got, in total, Imperial Rome, Dacia and Sarmatia. Oh my god, my words are leaving me right now. Iberia, Gaul, Caesar's legions, Macedonia, Persia, Thebes, Sparta, and Athens. And the whole sort of thing about this is that it's going to be one of those skirmish games that you can play in the ancient era, and you'll also have some campaign rules in there as well. So there'll be rules for sort of taking your heroes and troopers through, multiple games and scenarios and things like that, and playing out a larger campaign, be it narrative or otherwise. It sounds really, really cool. I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about the mechanics for it all. Should be very interesting. They've obviously got a wealth of both plastic and metal models to draw from in the Warlord Games range as well. So yeah, SPQR sounds like a very interesting way to sort of dive into the ancient era without having to build up a massive army on the tabletop. So yeah.
Look, Jerry, this must be right up your street here, mate.
Right up my Strasse.
Yes.
Right up my Roman road.
Yes.
Could be certainly. There's some interesting things coming from it. Nobody really knows what the system is.
Yeah.
At the time of filming, they've announced a separate Facebook page that's just gone live. Mm-hmm. So it's currently available, which is separate from Warlord, but you can get to it from Warlord's face page. Mm-hmm. And they've also got a SPQRgaming.com website, mm-hmm. which when I clicked on the link goes nowhere yet, but they do assure us that it will go somewhere eventually, and it will have a playthrough.
Okay.
Because at the moment, nobody's entirely certain what this is. It's a small skirmish warband type thing. Mm-hmm. The fact that the box set contains Romans, but they're 2 very specific types of Romans from the Caesarian legions, and they're not the light skirmishing Romans, which I would expect. Because if you're going to have skirmishes, you would throw out velites. You wouldn't use any of the line regiments, but they're line regiment models.
Right.
So we don't really know what they're going with here. I'm worried that they might go too far because skirmish works to a certain extent, but Rome only really conquered because of their tight pack formations. And if you put 8 little fellas up against 20 Gauls, not in a formation, they will get their asses handed to them with a falx in double quick time.
Yeah.
So it will come down to how the gameplay goes, and we know nothing about that.
Are they releasing early rules, anything like that?
No. So it will just be whenever the website. They said before the website. The website will have gameplay before the book is released. Mm-hmm. You can pre-order both the book separately and the starter set. Mm-hmm. The starter set has changed from the initial pre-order a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of up in the air. They are actually doing a different type of material for these as well. They've said that they'll be using a PVC plastic style. So I'm assuming the plastic sprues that they have will go in there, and then to keep the cost down, things that are currently in metal, like the archers and that sort of thing, may get a PVC version. So, if nothing else, it'll be interesting to see what way they go with the materials and game-wise. It might be worth picking up just the rulebook, because those starter factions, I mean, Imperial Rome is from 1st century AD to about 400. But then if you're looking at Athens, Sparta, and Thebes, they are all sort of
further forward.
Yeah, well, sort of 400 BC towards 0, and then you'd hit the Caesarian legions. Macedon obviously comes in at the same time. So it's a spread of about 600 to 800 years either side of 0.
Well, this is something we've seen historical companies do. They actually will pick sort of a range band of era to era where you can fight. So you might have early ancients, late ancients, mid ancients that you can pick from.
Because most things don't really vary in armor and weaponry. Once you've got a rule set that works, because the actual technology isn't varying. It should cover that spread, but you've got some interesting ones. It may end up that it might play better playing with the Summatians and Dacians up in the hills and some Gauls, rather than, because I like that where they're not packed formations. It's more sort of war bands of Gaulish and Celtic and sort of the Gothic warriors rather than actual type formations.
When it comes to what they include in the set, there's some they might come up against, some game design or some balancing issues that may mean they have to stretch it perhaps a little bit further than they would have liked, or than they'll probably keep it historically accurate, but you want to give the players enough in the box to enjoy.
Yeah, there's 52 Celts in there against 17 Caesarian Romans.
That's a lot of Celts. Have they made them super tough? Are the Romans just like super heavy armored? The Celts are more of a rabble.
No more so than it comes to Rome. Really functioned and won because of their formations and tactics and their ability to change. The Gaulish Celtic, that sort of warband armor, their chain was just as good as the Roman.
Oh, right.
It'll be interesting to see if the rules reflect that.
It'll be. It really does come down to, at the moment it's just little teaser, and there's been a little teaser video, but we don't know anything beyond that. It's just a little come and play with the
It could go historically accurate. It could go film sim.
Exactly. That's what
Space Marines.
That'll be one of the challenges they must have had when they're making it.
Although, Tom, have you ever explored this sort of era in gaming before, or are you purely board games? Do you dip into board games?
I've explored it a little bit through board games, things like the Command and Colours series, that kind of thing. I love this period, and I used to do a bit of that. Not done it in wargaming, but maybe something like this could tempt me in. Don't know, we'll have a look. But the Ancients period is definitely something that's really something we'd like to explore.
I was going to say that's the key thing, I think, with this, is that even if you have like a passing interest in the ancient era and you like seeing it in films and TV shows and stuff, this gives you a chance to play that with like a handful or two handfuls worth of miniatures if you're playing as Celts, perhaps, just on the tabletop and just enjoying it from that kind of standpoint.
Yeah, there's definitely a movement towards that, isn't there? And a lot of companies making these nice, accessible, simple games that you can get into quickly and easily.
Yeah, well, it's all the jump off points.
Yeah,
because if you look at what the guys from Flames of War recently did with Hit the Beach, it's a very light set. You've got enough in there to give you some tactical depth, show you how infantry work, how vehicles work. I think there's even some artillery stuff in there, if I remember right. Yeah. And it's just making it easy for people to get in. Oh, sorry, I'm wrong about the artillery. Yeah, sorry. But it's making it easy for people to jump in, because the most terrifying thing sometimes whenever you look at an Ancients game, you're thinking a 12-foot by 6-foot table with a full Roman legion. Yeah, and that can be pretty intimidating to some people.
Play a DBX system. You could play it on this mat.
It's all about accessibility, isn't it? You've got to get started somewhere. Yeah.
All right, Ben, what do we got next?
So the next is continuing with the theme of historical, but going off towards the Napoleonic period. And this is the news that came out this week that Glasgow University are putting together a refight of Waterloo on an absolutely massive scale. So it's happening today, within a couple of hours, up in Glasgow University, and also tomorrow as well, which is very, very cool. There's going to be 22,000 miniatures on the table, which sounds pretty awesome. The table itself is 192 square meters, made up of 12 sections, each 8x2, which is pretty interesting as well. All of the terrain for the game has been handcrafted and built for this as well, all of the miniatures as well, which sounds pretty cool. And there are going to be 120 participants, which range from historical enthusiasts through to students, through to people from the university, from elsewhere as well as some veterans too. They're all joining in to do this massive game for charity, to play out the battle between Wellington and Napoleon. As well as the actual large battle itself, which you can see there in its scale. Nothing's obviously on the mat at the moment, but you can see just how massive the thing is. They're also going to be doing a whole bunch of participation games, fighting through skirmishes, so if you want to go and enjoy that and sort of play that, that's pretty cool. And there's also some other stuff going on there as well later in the evening, I believe they said, as part of the sort of celebrations this weekend, where they're looking at talking a little bit more about Waterloo in depth, which sounds pretty cool. The actual mat itself and the sort of map that they used to fight out Waterloo that they're going to be using this weekend was actually based on a survey that was done by someone called William Themeborne back in the era. So he was sort of like checking the battlefield for its tactical depth and that kind of thing. So that's a really cool sort of aspect of things there as well. Yeah. It'll be very, very interesting to see whether or not this is a very accurate refight of Waterloo, where they try and do it blow by blow, or if they kind of let things loose and see whether or not Napoleon can win out against Wellington on the field of battle or something. So yeah, very, very, very cool indeed. I think the consensus is that this is possibly the biggest war game that has ever been played. So that's very, very cool indeed, if that's definitely the case. So,
I don't know. I know one or two mates with Titan Legions who have, engine walks.
Is it going to be played, as a battle, or is it just being recreated? Do you know?
I don't know.
I believe it's being played.
So which rule system are they using? And all that?
I think they've made their own. This is part of a charity, Waterloo Uncovered, which is an archaeological society that are attempting to excavate Waterloo, because nobody's ever actually done a large-scale excavation, but they're actually connected to serving military and veterans as like a like a rehabilitation type of thing. Okay. So when they're actually playing on the day, the tables aren't going to be laid out in that massive mat. They've just done that to show people how big it is, because each section's like 8 meters by 2 meters. Yeah, so they're going to end up popping them up onto like a dozen boards, and each table will have some war gamers plus anybody else who's participating, some historians, and also some veterans talking about not just the battle itself, but the sort of the impact. So it's part of this sort of ongoing thing that's been on for a while.
So that's great.
Which
It'd be interesting to see how they maneuver the pieces in the middle right there.
People were talking about this. Will they get the big
long command sticks from
the raft?
See, I have to wonder if someone retreats off the table, will they appear on the next one over?
I imagine so, because it is based in sections, so there's no reason why.
What if you go off the very edge? Do you come back on the other side?
Well, no, we're not playing Snake.
If you go off the far edge, you'll just run into Blucher's troop coming from wherever, and they'll be unfortunate for someone. But
interesting.
I'm hoping that they'll have stuff on their face page and that sort of thing throughout the day.
Definitely have to keep an eye on that.
It starts relatively late in the day, I think. It's from like 6:30 in the evening to 9:30 the following evening.
Oh wow!
Through the night.
So I don't know if they're playing through the night or if it's
I wonder if they're playing it in a chronological order then.
Oh, is that when the battle first?
I don't know. Possibly.
That would be great.
If they did that, it would be very cool.
They should do that.
Or maybe they've just scheduled it to try and get it accessible for as many people as possible, because if you're working on a Saturday, 9 to 5, 9 to 6, then you can come in the evening and then you've got all day Sunday.
True.
So it might just be that.
If they're going for historical accuracy on that surveyed board, it would be good if they did it to time.
Well, I have to wonder who they got to make it.
Yeah, true.
Because it does look pretty nice.
I believe it was made by, and I might be wrong here, I think it was an Italian company has made it, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, there was definitely someone that was distinctly involved with this. I'll try and find the name as we carry on. But yes.
All right. Well, Ben, so it's being held at Edinburgh University, or is it Glasgow? Glasgow. Sorry. So Glasgow University. So if you're about and you like your Napoleonics, this is maybe one to go and check out for a bit of a day trip.
Yeah, the tickets are all available on. There's a link in there.
I think it's through Eventbrite, I think it is.
Yeah.
So you still might be able to get some stuff and go and view it. I just found the company that helped design the table. It was the Tiny War Games of London. So it wasn't Italians. It was the Tiny War Games of London. So yeah, there you go.
I have images of one of our fans in London going, "No, we made that." All right. Next up, Ben, what do you got for us?
So next up is something from the guys at Plaid Hat Games and Jerry Hawthorne, who a lot of you might remember was involved with Mice and Mystics. And this is a new adventure book game that they're working on, which is called Aftermath. You will play as animal heroes, so immediately gets a thumbs up from me, who are lost in a post-apocalyptic world where humanity has entirely perished, and so you are trying to survive and keep your colony alive. The game, a little bit like with Stuffed Fables, which came out, I think it was last year now, maybe the year before, there'll be 27 story-driven missions which you play through in this storybook style as you go through page after page, trying to keep your colony alive and also telling that tale of survival at the same time. The rulebook is already available for you to go and check out, so if you like Stuffed Fables and you like Mice and Mystics and you just like Jerry Hawthorne's work as well, you might want to go and check this out and see what it's all about. It should be released later this year, which sounds very, very cool. Comes with some really nice looking models as well, which is always good to sort of illustrate the fact, all the action that's going on the tabletop as well. But yeah, very cool stuff. Always nice to see Plaid Hat Games doing some more stuff in the sort of anthropomorphic vein. So yeah, very good.
I like the idea of this. And I love the way they've actually done the designs, that the mice are taking over scavenging stuff. They became a little smarter. What it really, really vibes with me of is there was an old CGI movie with these little puppets called Nine, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
If you remember it.
Yes,
I don't.
That was deeply creepy.
It was deeply creepy, but can you imagine them doing a reskin of this game with that?
Well, speaking of that kind of thing, isn't it right that Mice and Mystics is being developed into a TV series?
Is it?
Isn't that the case? I think it might.
Yeah.
I think it might be. And
I expect you to be abreast of this one.
This could be season 2 right here.
I like the fact that they're doing these storybook adventures where it is the book opens up, there's your game board, there's your narrative.
That's a lovely idea.
And it's just it's really nice and self-contained. The game does so much heavy lifting for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's
And
really good design.
It's a campaign system, so they're not meant to be played piecemeal. You start at the start of the book and you run through the story, and then see how far your guinea pig with anger issues gets, or whatever happens to be, before getting ripped apart by a cat, I imagine. Go cats.
Why would you? I bet you're just sitting there going, I wish I could just play the cat.
I wouldn't need to play. No. I'd be the GM throwing cats at people.
Adam West, now feel the wrath of my cat gun.
Good old Adam Wee. Yeah, it looks fantastic. The artwork's really cute as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's have a look.
Yeah, they actually did. Plato actually did a card game version of this that came out. I think it's available now, which is set in the Aftermath world to sort of get you used to the idea of the story and the characters. So there's multiple options if you want to kind of explore this world as well.
Was that Afterburn? Was it?
What? Sorry.
Was it Afterburn?
Maybe that was it. I'm not sure. Basically, it was set within the Aftermath universe, but it was a card game version of it. I think we may have talked about it on the show before, but yeah, it looks really cool, and hopefully they do some more stuff with this universe. I really like as you were saying, that storybook mechanic. I think it really works really nicely, and I love having narrative presented on the tabletop in that kind of way. So you're sort of uncovering things as you go. It's always fascinating to see. So,
yeah. All right. Well, we know Ben loves his anthropomorphic stuff, Tom. So when are we going to see Escape the Dark Garden?
Well, maybe a few down the line in the series, but yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't resist that one. All right, the next one actually has me quite excited because it's a spy game RPG coming soon to Kickstarter. I love the idea of sitting down with your role-playing group and having them all be spies. Could be very cool. Ben, what exactly is going on here?
Okay, so Spy Game is a role-playing game that is set in sort of like that near-future sci-fi setting. So if you're familiar with things like Jason Bourne or Mission Impossible, Splinter Cell, those kind of things, anything that's got like cyborg ninjas and stuff in it as well, it's kind of like on this vein. You're going to be playing as characters within that universe, and it uses the 5e mechanics. So anyone who's familiar with Dungeons and Dragons will immediately be sort of drawn into it, will know what's going on. But on top of that, it actually adds a few more bits and pieces in there too. So as well as those, tried and tested sort of skills that you know of, you've got things like hacking in there, and there's an expanded list of rules for how to do hacking, because hacking's a big part of being a spy. You've also got loads of vehicle rules in there, so you can do some big car chases and that kind of thing as well. They've also developed a whole bunch of backgrounds and additional stuff to help you build your spies in new different ways, because obviously all the stuff that was available in the those core D&D books is more tailored towards fantasy, obviously. So they've looked towards doing a lot more stuff with that kind of genre and that kind of style. They've also added weapons and all kinds of things into the mix as well. So you've got a whole bunch of guns and ranged weapons in there. They've added in new rules for reloading and all kinds of stuff there too. The Kickstarter that is going to be coming out very, very soon, I think it's in July, is focused around the idea of funding the main rulebook, but currently through Drive-Through RPG, you're able to download a quick start rules PDF, which you can get. It comes with a whole bunch of characters in there. It's got a pre-made mission for you to set out and play as well, which is very, very cool. So if you want to get stuck in and give it a go before you dive in on the Kickstarter potentially in the future, you've got some good opportunities to do so. In this age, it's always good to have some free downloads out there for people to go and try things out before they buy. So yeah, cool stuff.
Now, you see, if I was ever going to try DMing this, I know exactly what I would do. I would be going straight to the old James Bond books and just convert those into my scenarios for my players.
It does feel like there aren't that many supplements or games in this genre, so it's kind of good ground to cover.
Yeah, but
because you start as James Bond and you'll end as Archer. Outlaw Country.
I don't know. It might end up a little bit Austin Powers. $1 million.
Because let's face it, most RPG groups will just divert into that.
Yeah, but you can have fun with that. Oh, yeah. You could even do a Rick and Morty style thing.
Yeah, I don't know if there are many others for 5th, but there were an awful lot of the OSR for D20 Modern. So there's an awful lot of stuff out there for modern if you're looking for it. But it'd be interesting to see their take on it. I was having a look through the quick start rules. About half of it is the scenario and the characters, with the other half being sort of rough examples of various things that you can use the stat line for in a modern game, things like lockpicking and would be manipulation, so it's not too far of a stretch, but working in those additional abilities that are more suited to the modern age.
Yeah, but the question is, do they go super gadgety, or is it very much grind and pound? You are a real life secret agent.
Depends on what you want to run.
Yeah. I hope there's a lot of good stealth and concealment, all that kind of stuff. That'd be cool.
See, for me, it's got to be that interrogation thing. You walk into the hotel, you're at the bar, you're trying to get information out of a target.
That's true. Undercover.
If you feel your next person goes in and gives it a go.
That wouldn't look suspicious at all. Take a number to interrogate the lady at the bar, please. Hello, the lady. Oh no, she throws a drink in your face, going, "I'm out of this one. You're up next, Tom. Go on ahead. See if you're any." She would get very, they'd notice the line of spies.
But if your group did that, as a DM, you could have so much fun with it, just messing with your players. See what I mean?
Starts as Bond, ends as Archer. You're not my supervisor.
But I don't know. I think depending on your group, depending on how the rule system is written, if it's designed to be super serious, you're going to need the right role-playing group to sort of pull this one off.
That's always
or
the
you're
key.
all just going to have to accept that, Jerry's in the corner saying, no, we're not doing it right. We're doing it my way. We're doing it the Archer way. And then it just descends into madness.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen from the rules that they shown off in part of the Quick Start Guide, they've kind of gone down that route of basically use this as a toolkit, a sandbox to do whatever you want, really. So the front cover for the Quick Start is one of those like proper high octane action, spy movies that you would have seen in the cinema and stuff. So you can easily go down that route, or you can go down the more suave and sophisticated James Bond route, which then got more shooty and gunny as things went on, I suppose. But yes, lots of cool angles to come out for this one. So,
see, I don't know. It went super gadgety, and then it went back to like really gritty. You have no gadgets. You are just Daniel Craig, punch people in the face.
That's because Jason Bourne made a fortune.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Cubby Broccoli, not Cubby, his nephew, daughter, whoever currently owns it, went, we need that money.
Yeah, although, who are they talking about for the next Bond?
Idris Elba was the last I heard.
Yeah, weird choice. Right, next up then, another RPG?
Yeah, so I wanted to close it out with another role-playing game that caught my eye towards the end of this week. This one's called Luminol, and this is a it's a new role-playing game that's appeared on the Modiphius web store that I really wanted to talk about, because I know Sam would be really interested in this one as well, because it's very, very tied into the idea of urban fantasy and stuff like that. So if you like your Dresden Files and that kind of thing, you've got some really cool stuff going on here. Maybe Supernatural from the TV as well. So this is by a guy called Paul Mitchener, and you play in this game a liminal. And a liminal is someone who skirts the line between the supernatural world and the magic world and the mortal one. So, for example, a lot of their sort of ideas for characters are things like a werewolf who maybe has ties and family within the mortal world, but also has all these things that he now has to do within the supernatural one. Maybe you're a wizard detective, Dresden Files, who is sort of like trying to solve all these supernatural things that are happening while also trying to make enough money to keep his business open, that kind of thing. Another one is the idea of like being a fae character. So you're someone who's born half and half with fae ancestry, sort of fairies and that kind of thing, but also living in the human world and sort of being a teenager and living through that. And the whole idea is that you're going to be characters put into these situations to try and deal with this stuff that's going on around you. Because at some point you've been awoken to the supernatural world, and so things are now either out to get you, or you're trying to stop them from, messing around with the stuff that you've got going on in your normal human life, which is very cool. The other cool angle to this is that it's all set in the UK. So a lot of the role-playing games out there that sort of deal with this kind of thing, like World of Darkness, for example. I know it's the World of Darkness, but a lot of campaigns tend to end up being set in America somewhere, mainly because of the availability of guns. So it'll be really nice to sort of go down the route of playing a role-playing game where there's a lot less of that, and it's a lot more focused around the idea of United Kingdom and the folklore and mysticism that the islands sort of bring to life. Because, of course, we've got a lot of stuff like that that's sort of drilled into our history. It'll be really nice to sort of bring that to the fore. For example, there's 2 storybooks case files that have been released for the game already in PDF form. The first of these is all centered around the idea of werewolves, and it's sort of, you draw on, you're working for someone who's part of the Order of Merlin. You're trying to find their wayward son, which sounds very cool. The other one of these is then tied into ghost stories. So if you like the idea of hunting ghosts in a haunted house, you've got some really cool aspects there as well. Again, there is a quick start rule set for this. So if you want to try it out before you go and buy the main rulebook, which is only available in PDF form right now. The actual physical copies of the main rulebook have already been sold out, which is crazy. But there is still the PDF you can pick up, because obviously digital is forever. But then, as I say, there's the quick start rules, which you can go and try out. And they've got a whole bunch of sample characters in there, sample stories, really easy and quick to get to know mechanics, all done using D6 as well. So yeah, you just want to look if you like your urban fantasy.
Well, for me, this one will instantly just turn into Constantine. The RPG.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's good to see. I mean, a lot of those picks are RPGs. It's good to see RPGs doing so well. Largely due to the success of 5th edition, D&D's nice big resurgence in RPGs. So they've got a lot of cool stuff coming along in the wake, which is great.
Yeah. There was a TV show written by Lenny Henry and Neil Gaiman called Neverwhere.
Oh yeah.
It was run on the BBC, and about 7 people watched it. I think 2 of them were me and my brother. But it was set in London, and there was this whole Fey underworld that people weren't aware of. And it was tied to landmarks and stuff in London. So the tube route played an awful lot of the actual background / it was almost a character in and of itself, because if you went to Blackfriars in London, it was named that because there were Blackfriars. The Angel Islington is not a metaphor. There is an angel. That's where he lives.
Oh, right.
And so they end up having to go to him to entreat him for help. But this Luminol would lend itself to playing that. Good luck finding the TV series if anybody's interested, because I assume they went out on probably VHS in the 90s and never anywhere else. It never really picked up. But Gaiman did a novelization adaptation to it, which is excellent. It's well worth picking up. And he's threatened, I think he actually said when he released... what was the last thing he released? The Norse mythology book.
Yes,
he said
which is very good.
He said he was working on Seven Sisters, which was a follow-up to Neverwhere for many years. He said that's actually due to be published because he is finishing the story. So things like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of Gaiman's work is that it's set mostly around the UK, and you've always got this sort of level going on just below the surface. So doing things like that, I think, are great fun.
I see. There's one I remember from years ago. It was something that we did in school. I think I was in like primary 3, and it was a TV show they had us watch. But you had like little workbooks that came along with it. But it was a group of 4 kids who were dragged into a fantasy world, fighting against your standard villain. But they each got a magic item, but at one point during the show, it kicked them back out into the normal world.
Oh, right.
And so, this magical healing stone that they had in the world was a half brick in the real world. So you could maybe do a play on something like an old TV show like that.
Was it Words and Pictures?
I don't know.
Through the Dragon's Eye. That's the one.
Life of
That's
me.
the one.
One of them had like a healing potion. One had a sword, which turned into like an iron bar.
Yeah, that's quite cool. But I like that about this. If it's set in the UK, you can have all the kind of ancient historic landmarks and the ancient sites having being points of power in the game.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
It's also handy to know the locations.
Yeah,
because the amount of times you're going, you're in Chicago. Everybody goes, it's Moida. That's pretty much all I know about Chicago. There you go.
And a pizza.
Yeah, well, no, it's not pizza. It's just soup in a dough bowl. Isn't that what that is? I think you'll find most of the people in America will agree with me.
Except for people from Chicago who are now very angry at you.
That's fine. You know where to find me.
I can imagine Gianna just sitting there going, "Ooh, Jerry, I'm gonna get you." All right, so that is all of the news. Some really cool stuff. Next thing up, we actually have some more guests in. So I had Leo and Konstantinos in for Parabellum to have a bit of a chat about what those guys have been up to. So we'll be right back. Hey everybody, I am joined by Konstantinos and Leo from Parabellum, and today we're here to talk about a bit more Conquest. So, guys, it's great to have you back in the studio. It's been a while. How have you been?
You start.
Good. It's been great. I mean, first of all, thank you again for having us here. And since our last visit, we've been to a lot of shows. We've been to back then in Essen. We've done our whole trip through the U.S.
Oh yeah.
We went from Gamma in Reno all the way to Adepticon Chicago. So that was a blast. We got the opportunity to meet a lot of people there. So we were very busy preparing for our launch, but we had a great time there.
I think that's the biggest news.
I think that's it.
Launch.
Yeah, that's a good segue to that. We're launching June 20th.
Mm-hmm. Now that's really exciting because finally people are going to get the final production models in their hands and start being able to play with them. I mean, like, I know Konstantinos, you've given me some images to actually start showing off here, and it's now, are these the Wave 1 or what are these?
Well, let's go through them, and I'll explain what we see as we go through them. Let's go.
Okay, so first up,
that's our flagship. Let's say that's our starter set. Is the core box set, as we call it. It's a 2-player kit. I think it's actually right there. Yeah, it's a 2-player kit, so it contains both of our starting factions, the 100 Kingdoms and the Spires. You can see the kind of the technical numbers there. I'll let Leo go through those.
Yeah, so the basic set for us is a great way for someone to get into Conquest, and it was very important for us to make sure that we give you a good deal straight from the very beginning. So we're going to start off with 75 miniatures, so there's a very chunky content there. You start with the Abomination right in the box. You start with the 3 brutes, with the 3 knights. Yeah, that's pretty big miniature. We really wanted to make sure you get a good starting size force to play with your friend. So that's very good. Actually, we're also going to be including in there 2 characters that are going to be in plastic. So the Noble Lord, the Mounted the Knight, and the Fairmancer for the Spires. And we throw a little extra stuff in there. We put 6 objective markers that were themed to each faction. Right, so people can use for their scenarios and so on. So that was very important to us to give a good set, a good box.
Of course, also the rule book is there. Obviously,
and your command cards and your dice.
Exactly.
And also, I'd like to mention that the rules are always for free online, so you'll be able to get them there as well.
Yeah, well, it's one thing I'm noticing with this, because of the style of game that Conquest is, having the different types of unit on the tabletop, having very different rules. You're representing them really well. So you've got some light units in there, some heavy units in there, some monstrous stuff. So people are really going to get a good feel for the actual style of play right out of this one box from what I can see here.
That's right.
At least that's what I'm saying. I could be wrong. I could be talking out my back end.
No, that's right. I mean,
that's actually very true. And it's how we've set up our demos so far in all the shows that we've been, exactly to show the mechanics of how each of the type of unit works and what role it plays.
Well, I mean, like, it's the one thing that has always stuck with me since I first did a demo game with you guys on camera was that pushing of the actual deployment area, that how far can I send my guys forward before my opponent's going to start moving past my line to start eating into that sort of safe zone for my stuff to deploy. And if my opponent's really good at doing that, all of a sudden my heavy stuff that's quite slow, it's going to start a little further back and it's going to have to fight through that spearhead.
So the game on its own supports a lot having various units in your army list, right? The light, medium, and heavy forces sort of play, and the fact that everything comes in waves in different points in the game really reinforces the idea of having a little bit of everything in your army, and that's why it's important to have a good variation of the stuff you're going to get in your starter set.
Exactly, and that it looks as if you've engineered that in here really, really nicely. All right, next up.
Ooh. Well, along with the core box set, we're going to be launching expansion packs with everything that is in the core box set in terms of units, not the characters yet. So this is, I'm not going to say our pride and joy, because everything, not only in the box, but everything that's coming is our pride and joy. We take very great pride in all the units that we make.
Of course.
If not, we don't make them. That's kind of our philosophy. Yeah. So this is the Abomination. It's like the heavy artillery, or now, well, not artillery literally, but of the Spires. And, well, more mechanically, I think, Leo.
Actually, the Abomination, it's a heavy monster, but you'll see that little hint there. They're gonna be getting heavier stuff as well, right? So the Abomination, in terms of gameplay, is a monster that is it can move up the field really fast. It's very good at striking from the flanks. It can take some punishment, but any dedicated melee regiment will give it a hard time.
Yeah.
Right. But the Abomination is a tool to flank your opponent and really hit them hard where it hurts the most.
And it does have a real fear factor to it.
Yeah.
If you're playing as the 100 Kingdoms and you see maybe 2 of these coming across the table at you, you're going to think, okay, I need to deal with that right now.
It's terrifying, literally and metaphorically. Literally, it has the rule terrifying. So that's that works in there. And metaphorically, it really it's a really good piece to threaten space in the game.
Yeah. Next up, we have some more for the Spire.
Yeah, these are the force-grown drones. It's kind of the
quite opposite.
Exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
This is for the Spires themselves. These are the expendable units. Literally, but literally, these guys have a lifespan of about a few weeks at most from the moment of activation, because these are genetically created through biomancy, which is the magic that the Spires master. They are creations. They don't have an immune system, so all those bandages you see around their flesh are actually filled with antiseptics and stuff like that to keep them going more. So it's a given that they're going to die.
Yeah.
The only question is when it's the most opportune time to die.
Good to mention here that here you also see a command. You see the banner. Now the command is not going to be included in the starter set, but you're going to be getting all the extra pieces when you get the expansion sets. So there's quite a few more things.
Yeah, so it does buff up those forces then.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Next up, the big ones.
We all love them.
Yeah.
We all like them. They're the bird drones.
Yeah.
They're beefy miniature. It's pretty much what happens if you let the first gun drones cook a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sort of literally, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
You imagine the biomancers there and just a pinch of oops.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a pinch of more of whatever it is I'm making.
Yeah, I have to say I'm loving the style of painting you went for the final miniatures in the image here. Look really nice. They've got a really cool dead sort of feel to them.
Thank you.
Very nice. Next, 100 Kingdoms.
That
I
have to say is one of my favorites from the starting, from the first products we launched. It's that banner. Everything you see actually is sculpted. It's there.
Lovely.
So the lion, the sun, the writing, they're all sculpted for you, and I think that helps the players as well.
It's one of the things we found out. I mean, we've said that before. We've talked about it before. Is that we really like the larger scale exactly because it lends itself to pick out all these different details when you paint the models. And so given that we have all this space and room to work with, we really wanted to give a really imposing banner to really give you a good chunky command there.
Yeah, and the actual sculpt itself, you've captured a really nice sense of flowing movement without it being ridiculous, because sometimes I see sculpts where they're trying to catch a dynamic moment in the sculpt, and they just take it that one step too far. You guys are hitting it pretty much nail on the head. It looks heroic. It looks like they're right in the middle of the charge, and it's just really cool. Again, beautiful paint job.
With our sculpts, we try to do what we try to do with everything in the game. We try to put, it's a fantasy, but it's also, we want it to be realistic, in brackets. So I think we also do that with our sculpts, or we try to, at least. And you can see that all sculptors, when they work, they actually have like open images of horses or with people and stances, so that we exactly can capture specific moments and movements in the muscles and everything that are something that is familiar because you've seen it in actual real life.
One of my favorite things that I noticed, sorry to interrupt there, is that people, for example, when we have the marksman clones that we've shown before, there are people that know archery and they're like, this is actually pretty spot on. Yeah, this is like how people are. This is how people pose and how they stand when they fire a bow. So this is actually we really want to make sure that we capture a sense of authenticity and originality. I mean, you can only be as realistic as you can in a game about fantasy. Especially when
said archers have 3 hands,
especially but we want to give it this authenticity that people can relate to, and that's very important to us.
Well, it's a balance you always have to strike, because it's a representation, not a recreation, but you can throw a little taste of recreation in there just to ground it in reality a little bit more and make it feel right, because that's again something you could just do a very strange pose where it's this crazy archer with 5-6 arms behind but actually just keeping it within the realms of possibility of what someone could do, what the stance would be, what looks natural for a body to do. it makes a miniature look nicer.
Yeah.
That's what we tried to do, and we hope you succeed.
Well,
You tell us.
I'm saying yes. Next up, we have Mercenary Crossbowmen.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, the Cursemen are pretty, like, in terms of gameplay, they're like a tool for the 100 Kingdoms. They're one of the lighter units. The regiments, they come in from the beginning of the game. They have armor piercing shots, so that's very good at dealing with the light and medium enemy forces. But at the same time, of course, they suffer from a little bit shorter range. So it's about, the Cursemen are about being at the right place at the right time, and they can really hurt, these skirmishers that are trying to mess with your lines.
Again, see, I would probably run maybe 2 units of these out on the flanks just to start harassing things, just to make things just slow down a little bit. Give me the pace of game I want to play. Yeah, that would be my thinking on the tactic for them. Again, I could be wrong. What do I know?
And actually, that's pretty spot on. Like, the 100 Kingdoms really do want to make sure they bring the right tools at the right time, and sometimes they need time to move to where they need to be. So units like that really helps you slow down the game against the faction that is more about rushing.
I think that's also kind of a representation of the lore, that the 100 Kingdoms are outgunned, at least so far, in many ways. So tactics... Yeah, was that about the so far? Well, we'll see. But tactics is their main tool right now. They need to play smart. They need to play with the tools that they have against monstrosities that they haven't even seen in ages. They belong to myths, and now they're knocking at their front door.
I think my favorite sculpt has to be this guy right in the front, in the middle with the telescope. He's just hunting targets for that unit.
He's like directing fire.
Yeah, and it's nicer to have a command unit that's not, they're over there, actually something functional where it looks like he's about to just scan the horizon to see what he can hunt down. Really cool.
Okay.
Yes, Men-at-Arms.
Men-at-Arms.
This is the
meat and potatoes, I think, of 100 Kingdom Army. I mean, they are, they really are the Men-at-Arms, along with some one or two other 100 Kingdom units, would be considered the mainstay of a force of the 100 Kingdoms. I think lore-wise and game-wise as well. They're medium infantry. They're very good at securing a position and making sure that wherever you send them, they're going to stay there. At the same time, dish out some damage. And many times they can be really the anvil to hold your forces until you bring the proper tools.
Yeah, that bulwark against the rushing horde. Again, gorgeous sculpts, and I'm loving the armor design that you've done here, because it doesn't feel like it's just a guy with tons of plate on him. You can actually see there's a mixture of plate and leather mixed in this, which actually makes, again, them feel proper for the role that they're playing within the game.
That is actually one of the main things about them. They are professional soldiers. There is a militia. We're going to come to that later on. But they are professional soldiers. They know what they're doing. Their armor is functional and proper. It's not. But even in the case of the militia, of course, I think we've spoken about this before, that they are organized militia. They're not like they don't just get pitchforks and go stand a line because they have to. They actually have some training. These are a step above, or even 2 steps above. This is what they've been trained for. This is what they do for their life. Other people make pottery. These guys make war.
What is your profession?
What is your profession?
Exactly.
Professional soldier. I prefer, not war. War is not a profession.
Lovely stuff. And then these guys, Steel Legion.
Steel Legion, yeah. I'm very excited about their banner, to be honest. I really like it.
Very nice.
This is going to be the first expansion coming that is outside the core box set. It's going to come, I think, a little later.
Next month. So June 20th, we get at the end of June we get the starter set, and then the next month you're gonna get the Steel Legion, these guys, and you're also gonna be getting the Marksman clones. So.
And are you guys planning a quite rapid heartbeat for the actual release rate, or are you just gonna let things stabilize and let people just build into it?
We have a very intense release schedule, and that's actually one of the reasons we're doing it now, is that we have enough, we've prepared ourselves enough to be able to support it, and we want to make sure that we're going to be putting the 100 Kingdoms and the Spires, and then we have the Dragom and the Nords that are going to be coming out, and we want to make sure that we populate these 4 factions quickly, because a big part of what we want to do is that we want to do organized play, we want to do tournaments, and so we want to make sure people get fleshed out factions to choose their forces from.
So basically you want to feed the consumer what they need to actually keep them in, keep them playing, and keep them enjoying it.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons that we actually wanted to make sure that we have this backlog of for everything that we're going to release before.
You guys have done tons of prep from what I've seen over the years. I mean, like, I remember seeing you, how many years ago is it now, whenever I first saw you guys at a show?
I think it's about
two.
Yeah. And all of that time has been prep, getting ready for that launch. So very impressive, and it looks as if you've been really considerate with it. So what do these guys do on the table?
On the table, what do these guys not do?
I will actually quote one of our followers on Facebook when we posted that on Facebook, and his response is, "Don't let them hit you first," or something along lines.
Yeah,
and he has a good point. He makes a very good point.
These guys are so we said a little bit before about how 100 Kingdoms are all about bringing the tools at the right place. They're one of the tools, and they are one of the elite infantry. They hit hard. They have, in terms of gameplay, they get a good cleave too that reduces your armor by 2, and so they're a good answer to the Abomination.
Gotcha. So
right?
Everybody needs a sledgehammer.
Yeah, and they come with a sledge sword. Sword. Yeah.
I don't think anybody made that weapon ever.
Sledge sword.
You know? I know they probably tried in Dead Rising 3, but no.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. Next up, we have more of the Spires. So these are the archers.
Marksman clones.
That's going to be released with the Steel Legion. It's in the month after our initial launch. This is the first expansion for the Spires. And it's the realistic three arm archers that we were talking about.
Yeah, but if you look at, you've got a nice mixture of poses in there for different stages of firing, different poses for actually taking the stance to fire. It works really well.
Actually, and it's very realistic. It follows the lore quite well, given how they're all about rapid firing. So they fire it well, pretty much. Yeah. So they're at a point you'll see them that there are different stages of firing exactly because that's what they do. They're not firing like they want to just make it rain. Like when it comes
turrets.
Pretty much.
Yeah, very cool stuff. And then this is something I wanted to talk to you guys about. So you guys did a ridiculously huge American road trip. Starting off in Santa Carla, ending in Chicago, yeah?
Yeah. That's now that I'm seeing it, you know, I know. Now that it actually hits me now that I see it. It was a blast. We had a great time doing the trip, and something that is very important to us is that, I mean, the way we see it is that we're all part of the same gaming community. We're all part of our gaming community, and we want to come to your stores, into your communities, and play the game with you.
Yes.
We really like to know who the people that will play Conquest and that are interested in the Conquest. We really want to hear the feedback, and we really want to make sure like we do something right. So, and that's why we went to all these different cities, and we were fortunate enough. We were very lucky for stores to have us and talk to us and bring their people in and play the game with us. And we had excellent feedback. We had a very generous reception, and we're very happy that we did this trip. And we would like to plan more of those.
Yeah.
All right, quick question. Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out of 8 stops, this is the most important question you can ask anyone about visiting America. Which of these 8 stops had the best food?
The best food.
That's difficult.
It is difficult.
You know, I don't think that's it's very fair, because we used to very different palate, like very different food.
Yeah, I know.
But I think, oh man, I'm thinking of the comments. I'm thinking of anything I say.
There's no win here, man.
There's no win.
There's no win. Just be honest. Let's be honest.
The favorite place that had the best, America.
For me, it's anytime I go to Chicago, they do the best food. Although I do love New York pizza. I'm going to put it out there right now.
Okay, but what I will say, a disclaimer, is that exactly because we had to make so many stops, we didn't have a lot of time to spend at every place.
That's what I wanted to say.
And most of the times we ate at places out of convenience, simply because that's the only time we had.
Yeah. Well, you've got some pictures of the road trip, so
bring them up. Go ahead.
So
this is a typical day.
We had to pack and unpack this perhaps every other day. That was interesting.
So load up, roll out.
Yeah.
There's your favorite spot. Five Guys.
I was going to say that for me, it's not one of the best food I've had there, but
I mean,
I am going to take a stance between a huge argument that exists in the US.
Okay.
This is my pick.
Okay.
I'm not going to say against who or what,
I'm
but
gonna
this
say
is my
something.
pick.
This is not endorsed from Five Guys. This is,
No, by the
this
way,
is
no.
not a
They don't
plug.
even know me.
This is not a plug.
You guys are coming to UK Games Expo this year, aren't you?
That's right.
Yeah.
If you go into Birmingham, they have Five Guys.
Yeah, we've had the.
because I insisted. I was like, they have Five Guys? Yeah, we're going.
Abandon the expo. Abandon the expo. Go eat Five Guys.
So Five Guys do not know us. We're not endorsed by them.
And we
But if they do know us, please
send us burgers.
send us stuff.
What the image of someone just walking up to you at expo now going, oh, yeah.
I'll give you spruce.
I'll name a character after you.
And then, where was this at?
Well, it says so there. Come on, Justin.
It's one of the soft flats.
It's actually where you see, where they do all the speed testing with these
yes.
very weird long cars that
Yeah,
go
the
at
jetpack
streams.
cars.
Yeah, exactly. This is where they do. Well, not only this.
They're one of the
but-
two places. Yeah, I think there's one in Death Valley, California, that they do it,
Yeah.
and the other place is there. Actually, you'll notice the water behind it. It's actually the time of year that we went. It's like it has this water. It has water, but during the summer, everything evaporates and it becomes like the soil is like the perfect
Wow.
conditions to do
Yeah.
these sort of. speed
Because
testing, yeah.
even the water you see there, it's actually like you can step on it.
Oh, right, so it's only like a
yeah,
couple
it's
inches
like
deep?
this deep. It's
Oh, wow.
it's nothing.
you would see people like driving through the water just
Yeah,
to go
yeah.
through that. Yeah,
Which
was-
we didn't want. We didn't. Yeah,
we didn't want to try
do
with
it.
a rental.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like,
Let's not test that insurance.
yeah.
And then I'm guessing this is one of the clubs.
Yeah, we were happy enough that people to meet a lot of people actually, and they were very. That's something that I wanted to say, that we felt very welcome because people were not only very interested, but they were also very polite, very open to suggest us, you should go to this place and that
Yeah,
place.
yeah, yeah.
And of course, they wanted to play the game, and that was amazing to see Leo play the game.
What, were you just sitting there going, I wrote all this. Would you like to read?
But yeah, we were very glad to see people's reactions, because we also met a lot of people that haven't seen the game before,
Yeah.
and they wanted to try it out. And it's always good, to go to people's gathering places and just play the game with them. And I'm very happy to see how a lot of people really appreciated the fact that we
that
flew
is true.
across the Atlantic to go and see them in person. So that was very. Actually, there were people that they were like, "Oh, we were waiting for this. We saw the post and we were like hyped." And so they went to. We met them in Farmington, and so they came to us to play the game, and like we were excited about this. We went there, and then they went and saw us in Adepticon as well, played again.
Nice.
So we were very happy about that.
So I'm gonna tell this, that it appeared to me that it was a huge deal for some of the people that already knew us, but that also was a huge deal for us to see the enthusiasm behind the anticipation that there is behind this game. So it gives you, more energy, more will to do more.
Well, whenever you spent years on a project, seeing that light in someone's eye whenever they get the tactic or they pull off a nice move, it's just really nice feeling.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right. Another gaming club.
Yeah, played the game again, explaining the rule set, showing off some of the miniatures and what's there. But the idea remains the same.
Yeah, really cool. And then now this is something I wanted to talk to you about. You guys have partnered up with the Army Painter.
That's right, and that's something we announced a little bit of. We're announcing actually right now in the US. We are going to be working with our friends from Army Painter. We're very fortunate to have a group of experienced people when it comes to wargaming, to paints, and to basing material. And for us, it was we were very happy to get this to work.
Yeah. Well, man, I love Bo and the guys over there. They're a little crazy, but they do great work.
Well, so are we. So it was a good fit.
Yeah. so are we. I mean, when you do these kind of this is a size comparison, and it's and a shameless plug of the Abomination next to the Iron Painter cat.
Now,
Actually,
was it primed with Army Painter?
That was actually the point of this picture. This picture is like how large the Abomination is.
Yeah, it is.
This is what you
Huge,
get. Many times, like scale is lost when you see a photo of something on its own. You cannot really always tell the
trying
scale.
to fit everything into the same
But
layout.
if you take your miniature and put it right next to a product of a company you work with,
Yeah.
the same, like you can show the scale pretty well.
And then, is there anyone else you're working with?
Yeah.
Microart.
Microart Studios.
What are you doing with those guys?
Now, Micro Art Studios, they're going to be doing thematic stands and bases for us.
Cool.
So
and terrain buildings.
and also
as well.
after that, they're going to be doing terrain features. They're going to be getting. It's very important for us. They really nailing the whole aesthetic of each faction, and they're really making stands of like that really resonate with the faction itself. We've actually took some photos on our social media about what they made so far, but in the future we're going to be making posts about and giving photos about like full trays and so what they've been doing.
Again, I love what the guys over at Micro Art do. They have a really clear vision of what they want to lay out for folks, because I mean, like they've been doing design for stuff for years. So seeing them work with you guys, very curious to see what they do.
And we started with a very good collaboration that they wanted. There's an ongoing communication concerning the designs, and so because they wanted to properly represent the world that we made. And to fit what we're making.
Yeah.
So we're exchanging back and forth views of how this could be better, how this could be better. Does this fit? How does it
That's
work?
all part of the craft.
Yeah, I know, and it's actually super exciting to see now another party coming in the creative process and bringing their expertise into it. So far, it looks great.
Yeah. Now, something very important to talk about for everybody at home is what shows are you guys going to be at this year if they're going to want to come and see you and actually have a look at your game.
Well,
Expo, we know.
yeah,
UK Expo, UK
It's the
Expo.
next step.
Then for the first time, we're going to be attending Gen Con.
It's huge. I'll warn you now, it is huge.
We've been warned that it is huge
repeatedly,
and we're going to be having demo tables there. We're going to be having everything we need to get people play the game and see us and ask us every question that they have. But yeah, Gen Con is a big one for us. It's the first year that we're going there.
Yeah,
it's also kind of a huge tradition.
Yeah.
And to be part of that becomes something special.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, last year they had a huge anniversary. So anytime you can jump in on something like that that's got such history, such legacy to it,
Exactly.
definitely worth doing. That and the crowd that it draws is ridiculous. You know, I mean, like I've never seen so many geeks and gamers brought together under like one
I
banner.
can't wait.
And they have food trucks, which is always
That's
fun.
we're coming to Gen Con. We're coming to Gen Con.
Not for Gen Con though, for the food trucks.
I feel now I shouldn't be saying stuff about Five Guys and then saying I'm going to be eating elsewhere.
Oh, you feel like you're cheating on them?
Now I'm feeling I had to play this a little better since we already had. But yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's all the images you've sent through.
Yeah.
What else was there to talk about with you guys? Well, we have some of the physical stuff in the studio with us.
Since we're talking a little bit about the events, first of all, we would like to give a shout out for the people that we had quite a lot of volunteers for in the preview for SNSPL. We want to give a shout out to Hobby Biker Swissheim for coming and helping us out.
Awesome.
And we had volunteers in the US. Shout out to Ian and Sam for helping us out. And of course, we'd like to mention that for our events in Gen Con and in Germany later on, we're going to be doing. We will be looking for people that if they want to come and help and play the game with us and get to know us and join our Parabellum family for the duration of the show, would really appreciate it. And we would, of course, we're gonna make sure that you get some really cool sprues and freebies.
Yeah,
it's always nice to have drones. I mean,
we affectionately is like forced to play drones.
I like that. That's cool.
But
is there a specific way they should try and reach out via your Facebook? Or
our Facebook would be the best medium of communication with us. Of course, the info mail is always very important. And as we move on, actually, I'd like to answer a question that we've been getting. We've been asked whether there's going to be a more formal volunteer program, and there will be in the future. For now, you reach us directly, and then we're going to be working on for a program like that in the future.
All right, so like Biomancer's Apprentice.
Biomancer's Apprentice, yeah. I think it sounds a little better than Forced to Play Drone.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, but
I'm good with Forced to Play Drone.
Right. So there's something sitting on the table. I'm not sure if everybody out there has been able to see it, but there's something been sitting just in the background a little bit here. Is it okay for me to show this off?
Absolutely. So since we were talking about other factions and what are we going to be doing, we have the Hellbringer Drake. Now this is something, a little something, which is not little, from the Dragom. Actually, if we could. like if you notice how like scale how big it is compared to just
to the actual guys.
Yeah.
To the actual
guys. Do you want to pass me in the Abomination?
Yeah, sure.
I can show here.
Sure.
I have an Abomination on the.
So there's him, and there's an Abomination.
Yeah, the Drake is big, and actually, this is
chunky.
one of the things that are going to be one of the first things that the Drake that's going to be coming out with Dragom. It's going to be coming at the close to the beginning of them releasing.
I absolutely adore this thing. I want one right now. Can I keep this?
But I'll make sure. I mean, actually, one of my plans is to make you start all of the armies in Conquest.
Yeah, so
Slowly you're going to be finding things in the mail, and eventually you're going to be playing every army.
Well, I've actually been talking to some of the guys in the studio. Honestly, Warren has been eyeing up the 100 Kingdoms. He loves the design of those. I think Lloyd is actually looking at the what's the other ones?
The Spires.
Spires, yeah. And me, Dwegom, that's right in my wheelhouse. It's that or the Nordic style guys.
you choose wisely with Dwagom.
Well, the Dwagom, they have big cannons. And how can you go wrong with big cannons?
These are huge flamethrowers.
Oh, right. Flamethrowers.
That's
Kind of.
Yeah, it's
Kind of.
It's kind of flame, given how it fires. I mean, but I think the best, if there would be a mix between a cannon and a flamethrower, like I think it would be close to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because these are not exactly cannons in the traditional sense.
So are you telling me it launches petrol bombs? Because I'm Irish, like that works.
Yeah, I guess you could say it. But yeah, it's going to be a beast on the table. It's all about close range fire support. By fire, that wasn't a pun, but it's just supporting like shooting. But of course, you always with the shooting monsters, you always have to play them a little smart because you can fire at everything and everybody can see you back because you're size 3. That's a pretty big miniature. So you always have to pick your flank and make sure you're not going to draw a lot of attention, which probably you will.
Yeah, well, big and mean looking.
Big and mean looking, but it can hold its own in combat as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, like I would probably have this maybe sitting just behind, like an artillery position with some Dwagom infantry just up the front.
Yeah.
Come and break through if you can.
Yeah, that's a good solid tactic.
Yeah. All right. Now, one other thing we have sitting here is this massive pile of sprues.
Oh, did you notice? Did you?
I forgot I put them there.
I would like to have a look at some of these because you were telling me off camera these are the production ones now.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I'm very curious to see just what we're getting on these. So the first thing I've got is 100 Kingdoms Cavalry.
That's actually the 2 characters.
This is the so let me see. So this one, this is the sprue for the Noble Lord that you saw. This is the 100 Kingdom character. And here you see like we said, the thematic objective markers. So these they're going to be using as objectives, and right next to that you see the Ferromancer, the Spire character.
Oh, he's turned out really nice, and the cast you've got on the plastic, everything it's right, it's tight, it's straight. I'm super happy with that. This is all hard plastic, yeah?
Yeah.
Plastic glue will do the job.
Yeah. All right, let's have a look at one or two more of these. So this is some of the weapon arms.
These are
the brute.
The brute drones. That's right.
Super crisp detail. Everything looks as if it's going to go together really nice.
And given how muscle bound they are, actually, you'll notice that the arms, they're ball sockets on the shoulder, so it gives you a lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
You can choose between the different set of weapons between, and you can make sure that even if you buy 2 or 3, you get all these different brutes. You can always make like a unique brute and make them look different.
Now you've got the big sort of club pieces, but then you've got these really intricately designed guitars, which just look really good. What else we got here?
Oh, that's...
Now the next sprue you see here is half of the Abomination. The Abomination comes in 2 sprues, so this is one half of part I believe 8. And this is the other side where you see the head and the other part of the body.
I'm gonna have to get a play with some of these sprues because the design aspect on them is really, really pleasing.
And yet, this is actually one of our most poseable miniatures.
Really,
you'll see that there are a lot of ball sockets on like high up on the legs and then on the arms. So you get about on the legs alone, you get about 8 ball sockets on the legs, on the forward legs, Well, so you make sure you can always put them in different ways.
Yeah.
And important part is that you'll also see different paws for the Abomination. You wouldn't call them paws, but like for lack of a better term, it's cute. It's a little cute thing.
Paws.
You get a different like feet for the Abomination, and also you can see that some are gripping. So if you make like a scenic base that you want the fingers to be wrapped around it, you can do it, and we've given you like parts for that.
That's going to be fun for those out there who like to convert.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different poses there, so we wanted to make sure you get as many many poses, different poses as you can.
And is this sort of an idea of what comes in your 2-player starter set?
Yeah, so apart
that's a hunk of plastic.
That's a lot of stuff. That's right. That's a lot of stuff. Like we said, we want to make sure you get a good deal. You get a good bunch of miniatures to play with your friends to start the game. A good range of different things. Yeah. And I'm pretty happy that we've nailed it when it comes to that.
Yeah. All right. I have one sneaky little question before we go away, and it's something I like to ask. You're getting some production sprues in. Would it be possible to throw up a little prize for everybody at home? You know, just like a little mystery bundle of sprues, just something for them to play with?
Can they name the best food in the US?
Go ahead. Your favorite American food. That's the challenge. Don't say Five Guys. That's disqualified.
I mean, we haven't decided yet. We're at a weird point with who we're going to prefer. So we're going to see.
Yeah, but I think that,
that sounds amazing. Bundle?
Yeah, sure.
More than happy. We'd be more than happy. Actually, there are going to be 2 gifts going. One lucky viewer that's going to get a mystery bundle, and these are for you.
Oh, thank you.
To keep and possibly to get you hooked up on the game.
I was going to say, and start 2 armies.
Start 2 armies.
There you go, Justin.
You know,
my plan is unfolding, by the way.
There is a reason we call it plastic crack. You know, just tap it to my veins.
That's right. So yes,
I'm pretty sure we can condone that. But
no.
yeah.
My legal background's like flaring off here. It's like, no.
It's all in good fun. All right. Anything we missed? Anything you'd like to mention before we close out?
Anything you'd like to ask? No, but I think we're covered.
Yeah,
I think we covered it all.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, tell you what, get those comments in below, and you could win yourself a nice little mystery bundle from the guys at Parabellum.
I'm Colin from Battle Systems, and you're watching On Tabletop.
I really love the way they've designed their starter set for this one, because you have the different unit types that arrive at different times during the gameplay.
Yeah,
and that's just such a critical thing for it.
Yeah.
It's a very churny game where stuff's going to die quick, but you always have more rolling in from the back.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a very cool idea.
Can I back up and just wait for all my reinforcements to arrive?
You could do. Problem is, your opponent's reinforcements arrive at sort of the same time.
That's fine.
And as they advance up the field, your deployment actually increases. So you have your 6x4 table. Let's say I have my stuff 3 foot in, you've held back at the back of your board. I can bring stuff in from right at the sides up that 3 foot, so my stuff is instantly up in front of you.
If there's strategic ground to be taken, you'd have to go quick. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like it's until you actually break the line and get past, then it starts pushing that deployment line further back, giving your opponents problems for his deployment, which I think is a really cool mechanic for this game.
Interesting to see how that works, if you can just turtle like that, or if you need to push. Yeah.
If anybody wants me, I'll be sitting in the forest at the back of the board.
Building up my forces, Or will they
come at me piecemeal.
Will they be battered by ranged attacks? I don't know, who knows.
Maybe. All right, so time to talk Kickstarters. And Tom, you have one running at the minute. So, if I could word, Escape the Dark Sector is now live on Kickstarter. It's going to have 15 days left at the time people are watching this.
Yeah.
Give us your elevator pitch. Go nuts.
Okay, well, you play the beleaguered crew of a starship, and your ship has been impounded in a space station in the depths of the Dark Sector. And so you are going to be putting together a crew, 1 member of the crew each, and each member of the crew also has a cybernetic implant which goes in their brain, which gives them a special ability or augmentation to call on during the game. So there's some cybernetics in there, and you build your crew with this combination of personnel and cybernetic chip, and that's how you get going. Then you're going to be working your way through a mission deck, which is the various rooms and corridors and passages of the space station, as you can see over here, behind each of which is a new challenge or adversary that you'll come across. And then you are going to be blasting your way with ranged weapons and equipment and that kind of stuff, fighting hand to hand, hacking, solving problems, all kinds of great sci-fi stuff, trying to reclaim your ship and blast your way out of there.
Yeah. Now, one of the key things for this one is you've added ranged ranged combat to the game, because in Escape the Dark Castle you would run into the room and it's instantly, right lads, break out the knives,
In
the
combat,
daggers, the fists.
That was the case. I mean, so this builds on the Escape the Dark Castle engine. So it's still a very much story-based, narrative-driven game, all about the atmosphere. But now there is ranged combat in addition to close combat. So there's lots of cool sci-fi weapons, lots of grenades and pulse rifles, battle rifles, all kinds of things that you can get, and 3 kinds of ammunition, which enemies have different strengths or weaknesses against. So lots of tactical options for you.
Now, I have to ask, who's this handsome gentleman down here?
Well, that's Lieutenant Miller, one of the members of the crew.
All right, I think because he looks rather familiar, I'll probably play him.
That's
in the
you,
Let's
is
Play.
it? Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. So yeah, you can kind of put together a particular kind of crew if you want one character to be a close combat specialist, one character to be good in ranged.
Yeah, someone to be tanky.
Exactly, and you can alter that during the mission as well if you want to switch it up.
Now, here's a question. Now, this is something I'd heard about, and I want you to explain it. So, the chip that goes into your head.
Yes.
Is that locked into you for the entire game, or can I change that?
No, you can change that. So there's a mechanic around that. So you start with that in. During the mission, you can rip it out if you want. I mean, if we have a look at one of them on the table here, you can see that it's a chip, and then it has a little cable attached to the end of it. Now that laces into your brain. So if you want to take one of these things out, you have to rip it out, and that's sort of equivalent to minor surgery. So you're going to have to take an HP penalty to do that.
Can I do it with a Phillips head screwdriver?
You're going to prise it out of there. You can swap it with another character, or you might find an upgraded version along the way. You might rip it out of an enemy, something like that, to improve your abilities.
Yeah. Now, one of the key things with ranged combat that you've built in here is you now have ammunition dice as well.
Yes.
And the combat flow actually is quite different because if we actually have a look on the table here, I believe I have them. Yes, down here at the front. If you like to point those out. So those are your combat actions.
Oh, here we go. So let's bring these up to the center here for a second. So you can see here, I mean, this is just a list of the actions that the players have available to them during combat. And just to, you've got shoot, reload, flank, equip, take cover, treat wounds, lot and charge, all sorts of different things. So what you do is each round of range combat as a fire team, you kind of put a plan together. You take one action each, and then you execute them simultaneously. So you might say, you take cover, I'll shoot, you reload. Next round, I'm out of ammo, I need to reload, somebody cover me, you go down the flank, and you're going to put together these little fire team actions each round.
I do like the fact that the way you've designed it is at least one team member is always making an aggressive action to actually cover the rest of the team to do those more passive actions, so getting on a flank, healing, reloading. Yeah,
so it's a kind of a covering fire mechanic. Somebody has to lay down some fire for the rest of the team to be able to maneuver or reload or whatever it might be.
Yeah, now currently on the Kickstarter itself, you guys are doing really well.
Thank you. It's looking good.
If you scroll down for me, Jerry, is there many stretch goals in this one?
There's a few that have already fallen. We've got the soundtrack unlocked already, which will add a lovely atmospheric sci-fi soundscape to play, to play while you're doing
what format?
Well, multiple formats.
Okay.
It's on MP3 and Spotify and all that kind of stuff, of course, but we are doing a limited edition vinyl for this one.
Weirdly, I was going to ask, is it on vinyl?
It is, with a beautiful sleeve, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was expecting cassette tape.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah, I suppose. Who makes them anymore?
And then we had, of course, a couple of books have been unlocked. So we've got the mission log, which is the background fiction that will go through the stories of the crew and their mission and how they end up here. Some of the legends about the bosses and the adversaries. And also Death in Deep Space, which is the contextual death scenes. So however,
I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
The first one.
Thank you. So we did that for Escape the Dark Castle as well. It's called the Death Book. In Death in Deep Space, you can learn about your disintegrations and all that kind of stuff that happens to you when you fail in the mission. So that stuff's already been unlocked. Those are additional add-ons you can just pick up when you're back at any level. And still to come, we have got much by popular demand, t-shirts actually. Yeah. So we've got these Escape the Dark Castle t-shirts here, which have the beautiful artwork from the box cover on the front and logos on the back and stuff.
I think Justin owes you £65.
Oh
well, in fact,
join the crew. Yeah, 65. But you're already there.
I took the beard off.
Yeah.
I've made a horrible mistake.
Don't worry, we'll shake them down before you leave.
And that's actually one of the coolest add-ons right there. That's the Join the Crew. So that's our artist Alex will do a personal portrait of you as a member of the crew.
Right, and I assume that comes in your personal copy, not all of them.
Nobody else gets that. You get 2 copies of that card, one to play with, one to frame and keep as a kind of a collector's item.
Very nice.
We did the same for Castle. It was really popular. People were very happy with it. So that's good. And then you can also get stuff from our Escape the Dark Castle range as well as part of this Kickstarter if you like.
I do like the fact that you've kept a similar but not an identical sort of art style to this. It does feel a little cleaner, just a smidge cleaner, a little more sci-fi.
Exactly. So it's the same method, I guess you would say, but obviously completely different atmosphere now. It really takes you into that classic sci-fi universe that we're trying to create here. All kinds of influences in there, from Star Trek to Alien, Terminator, old novels and books and all sorts.
Yeah, and it does look like you're getting a ton in the box here. So you're getting your 6 crew, 48 chapter cards, 9 chapter dice, 4 hit dice, 2 explosive dice, 7 ballistic dice, 7 energy dice, 3 stat cards, 5 boss cards, 1 rulebook, 6 crew dice,
it's a lot.
35 item cards, 1 medical records pad, 4 pencils, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there. It's actually more content than Escape the Dark Castle. There's something like 30 dice in this game, all beautifully custom designed.
Nice.
I was going to say, it sounds weird, but one of my favorite things about looking at this and the stuff you got in the box is the fact that health meter is like a chart. I just love that. It's so
let's
cool.
have a quick look at that if we can see that here. So you can see down here, this is the medical record, and as you go, you plot your health through the mission. So as you go along, you can see it kind of makes a wavy line, a bit like your heart. It's like monitoring your life force or your heartbeat, and you can look back on that after the mission to kind of see the peaks and troughs and maybe what went wrong as it plummets towards zero.
How quickly did things go bad?
Absolutely,
yeah. No, we actually got a very quick game off camera before coming in, and
it was great.
The first thing I grabbed, and I'm going to recommend it if you ever see it, pick up the +1 health on your
so you took the cybernetic implant, which was augmented healing. So this means you have something in your bloodstream that you can regenerate a bit quicker than the other characters can.
I'm taking that every
it's a good
time.
shout. But you see, you're not as good offensively if you take that. So somebody else in the crew has to go the other way. So you have to make a nice balanced fire team.
Yeah, but it also means that I can tank it up a little bit more.
That's true.
Because I can just go, I'll jump in, I'll take the hit this time because I know I can get it back next time.
That's right. If we also equip you with some close combat stuff, you could be pretty brutal. So we can put together a crew in that way with these different abilities and weapons and character skills.
It does feel like there's a lot more crew customization in this one.
There is, yes. It's a big part of the game. It's a sci-fi game, so there's lots of tech and gear and things to think about. It suits the theme, and so the mechanics, go along with it.
Do you always run a full crew of 6, or do you?
No. So the game is for 1 to 4 players. So a maximum of 4 members of the crew that are ever chosen. But as with Escape the Dark Castle, you have to keep everybody alive. It's fully co-op. All right. So if
one dies,
the game is over. We need all of the crew alive to fly the ship out of the sector. So if anyone drops, it's over. Yeah,
and it's got the skilling difficulty of Escape the Dark Castle, which is along the bottom of the villain or the encounter cards here. You have a preset of the dice that will turn up. But then this symbol here means you're rolling 1 extra dice for each crew player you have in the game.
Yes, that's one of the ways the game scales for the number of players. So it's a good balanced challenge, whether it's 1 or all the way up to 4 players.
Yeah. Well, it's absolutely lovely. I cannot wait to see the final product.
It's very exciting. Yeah, we're almost there. This is our prototype that we've got on the table. It plays beautifully. We're still tweaking it. We're going to tweak it right up to the last minute and make sure it's absolutely perfect when it comes out.
Good, because I noticed even today you were rebalancing just a couple of little tweaks.
Yeah.
You were actually sitting there with a pad just going, does this mathematically work out?
Yeah, it'll have hundreds more tests. That's when you're making a game, that's what you do. You go, you run it and tweak and adjust until it's
test
just
it
right.
till destruction.
Absolutely, it's going to be fully bulletproof.
Yeah. Well, guys, if you're excited about that one, it's one that I highly recommend. You've got about 15 days left to jump in on it, and because you're here, I'm going to announce this now because it's in this segment. So we've actually chatted to you. And I'm going to put the question to you, even though I already did off camera. Would you like to give everyone at home a little prize in this episode?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So the prize we're going to offer is from our previous game, Escape the Dark Castle. It's what brought us here, very popular game. And we're going to be offering the main game and all 3 adventure packs.
So a nice big Escape the Dark Castle bundle.
That's a big chunky bundle that'll give you almost all of the content that we do. And then you'll have plenty to get stuck into there.
Very, very cool. Is there any particular question you'd like to ask them? What's the ultimate sci-fi villain? Something like this?
Well, as we're doing the castle bundle for the winners, let's say, so in the game, you play a group of prisoners wrongfully incarcerated in the castle. So what we'd like to do is hear, what did you do as a prisoner?
What was your crime?
How did you end up in that dungeon?
I like this one. Yeah. I like this one. That's really cool in narrative.
Didn't do anything I'm innocent in.
Oh, yeah.
Ben, okay, we have another one here. Mighty Lords. What are we looking at?
Cool, yeah. So the other Kickstarter Kickstarter we're looking at today is Mighty Laws, which is by Room 17. You might know them as a company that does a lot of board games in the past. They've done Maya Marsh, for example, which was a big hit. But they're now working on a range of 35mm resin miniatures. And their first outing is the one on Kickstarter right now, which is called Mighty Lords, which is putting together a selection of different models and monsters for you to use as barbarians and warlords and characters in your evil factions and in your evil role-playing games as well. There's a whole bunch of different sort of factions for you to choose from. There's the Masters of Mayhem, the Merc Marauders, the Chosen of Akavan, Zahak's Shadows, and the Mighty Apush as well, who's the massive demon you can get as part of the set. It's all sort of done around the idea of, effectively, if you like your Chaos Legions and you like sort of that sort of aspect of the ancient world which is tied into brutality and dark gods and things, you've got some really, really cool options here to get stuck into. All of the miniatures range from around 35mm for the sort of standard soldier through up to around 80mm in height for the big demon. I think we actually got to have a look at some of these when we were at UK Games Expo this year. And there are some absolutely amazing models in this selection. And Room 17 have done some fantastic models for their existing board games. So it's really nice to see them expanding off and doing something a little bit different as well, just to sort of create some interesting new characters for use on the tabletop as well. So, yeah.
I love it when companies do this because you can just look at them and go, what would I fold those into? I mean, like, I can see the hamster in Jerry's head going, Fantasy Saga. No? What would you use them for then?
Kings of War.
Ah, okay.
If I was going to rock them at all.
Yeah. What about you, Tom? Any game you throw these into?
I think they would make proxies for a lot of great games actually. Yes, there's some impressive miniatures actually. Yeah,
some beautiful sculpts in there.
It's unusual that they are going to do miniatures without a game attached, because Room 17 are essentially a design studio.
Yeah.
So Miremarsh is their first game of their own. They did a lot of the design work for Hellboy.
Yeah.
From Mantic.
I think they also did Flicky Spaceships, if I remember right, was one of theirs.
Could be. But the
so there's no rules. This is just a miniature set.
Yeah. So the design studio essentially go, we will do your graphic design, your artwork, and 3D renders from 2D images. But whether or not people haven't taken them up on that particularly, and this is going, no, look, this is what we can do.
I see.
Miremarsh is only just
people haven't been getting it yet.
Well, people got it at UK Games Expo if they could turn up to pick it up, but it's not due to actually land for Kickstarters until August. So it'll be interesting to see what those models are actually like when the people got them in their hands, because I've heard no reports.
I see.
I know they're out there, but nobody's talking.
Although, have you seen Miremarsh stuff?
Yeah, I know the one, yeah.
I love the concept behind it, that you're a goblin, you're going to die, but you get a new goblin.
Yeah.
These look absolutely fabulous, and if it is them just showing off the actual skill set that they have in there, why not?
It's
and
interesting.
Get cool minis.
You wonder if they'll follow up with a rule set later or anything like that.
Okay, he looks familiar.
I think one of the key things for this is that I think maybe they've seen, obviously they're looking at it from sort of like a design point of view and sort of showing off what they can do. But I think there's so many games out there now that are rule systems that don't necessarily have miniatures lines for them. So creating a bunch of cool fantasy miniatures that you can use in those kind of games just seems to make sense, especially on the sort of scale that they're doing them, where they're doing a sort of like small warband packs, effectively of between like 5 and 7 models each.
Well, there may also be some use for board games as well.
Yeah,
actually.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or if you're someone who loves going to painting competitions, get some dioramas on the go with some of these.
Just
you could do a really
collect.
nice faction for evil faction thing.
But that one there is available as a 75mm.
Oh,
and I think as the stretch goals go, they're going to unlock the other 35mm sculpts as large models just for painters.
I mean, there looks to be a ton of detail on these. You could do non-metallic metals, source lightings. You could get those skulls and stuff just glowing on the weapons. Could be very cool.
As Jerry said, though, the proof will be in the pudding. So it'll be nice to see what the miniatures look like eventually when they come out. But I think from some of the examples we've seen on there, I believe they may have got Ankel to paint one of them. I'm not quite sure, but there's definitely a painted one on there somewhere. But yeah, some cool stuff.
Everybody, don't forget, any of the competitions we run, if you want to find out if you've won, come across to OnTableTop.com and go and check out the prize center on the main website. Just a reminder of the competition for this week. We have one from Themeborne. just so I get the company name right, which is
Well done.
Escape the Dark Castle bundle. Quiet you. And I believe we also have one from the guys at Parabellum who are giving away a mystery bundle of sprues, which will be arriving to you early to have a bit of a play with.
Also,
if I remember right. Yes, Ben?
Yeah, that's correct. Also, just as a reminder, we talked about it at the beginning of the show, but with UK Games Expo, we've got tons and tons of different prizes for you to get involved with there. So make sure you go and comment on that and get involved with that. We also had the Flames of War boot camp last weekend, so you can go and look back through that and comment on all the videos there as well. And as Justin was saying, we do have the prize center stuff that is, featuring all the winners. So, for example, if you wanted to find out whether or not you won one of the De Vere games from before UK Games Expo, you've got choices there, and also our unboxing winner as well that we do through YouTube. So yeah.
Yeah, and just if you're on that page, make sure and scroll on down past the entry form, and that's where you'll start to see the list of everybody who has won recently. Whew, okay, guys, that has been a fantastic show.
Stefan, you won something. Well done. I recognise the username.
That's actually a point. Actually, if you see anybody who has won, but you don't know whether or not they've contacted anybody here about their prize, make sure you let them know, because it would be great to be able to send all the prizes out to everybody.
Yeah. Right, we're going to move on here. We will see you again tomorrow morning on the main website, ontabletop.com, for the Weekender XLBS. If you haven't heard of it before, it's another version of this show where we sit down and we just have a nice, relaxed chat in backstage. We will move on. We will see you again soon.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.